The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
At that time, Jesus was led by the Spirit into the desert to be tempted by the devil. He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and afterwards he was hungry. The tempter approached and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command that those stones become loaves of bread." Jesus said in reply, "It is written, one does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes forth from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him to the holy city and made him stand on the prophet of the temple and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and with their hands they will support you, lest you dash your foot against a stone." Jesus answered him, "Again it is written, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test." Then the devil took him up to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world in their magnificence. And he said to him, "All these I shall give to you if you will prostrate yourself and worship me." At this Jesus said to him, "Get away, Satan. It is written, the Lord your God shall you worship, and he alone shall you serve." Then the devil left him, and behold, angels came and ministered to him. My brothers and sisters, the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ, King of endless glory. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ, King of endless glory.
What a joy this morning that our homilist is our bishop.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. You may be seated. These are not notes. It's a poem I want to read to you this morning. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. Stole many a man's soul to waste. And I was round when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain. Made damn sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name. But what's puzzling you is the nature of my game. I stuck around St. Petersburg when I saw it was a time for a change. Killed the Tsar and his ministers. Anastasia screamed in vain. I rode a tank, held a general's rank when the blitzkrieg raged and the bodies stank. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name. Oh yeah. What's puzzling you? It's the nature of my game. Oh yeah. I watched with glee while your kings and queens fought for 10 decades for the gods they made. I shouted out, who killed the Kennedys, when after all, it was you and me. Let me please introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste, and I laid traps for troubadours who get killed before they reached Bombay. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name. Oh yeah. But what's puzzling you is the nature of my game. Oh yeah, get down, baby. to meet you. Hope you guessed my name. Oh yeah. And what's confusing you, it's just the nature of my game. Oh yeah. Just as every cop has a criminal and all the sinners saints, as heads is tails, just call me Lucifer, because I'm in need of some restraint. So if you meet me, have some courtesy, have some sympathy, and some taste. Use all your well-learned political skill, or I'll lay your soul to waste. Yeah. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name. Yeah. But what's puzzling you is the nature of my game. How many recognize that? Sympathy for the Devil, the Rolling Stones. I came of age in the 1970s, and I listened to this song on the radio all the time. And I was amazed that the Rolling Stones would write a song about the devil. I also watched TV in the 1970s. One of the programs I watched besides Saturday Night Live, which started then, I date myself. I also watched a comedy called Flip Wilson. Remember Flip Wilson? And whenever Flip Wilson would do something bad, he would say what? The devil made me do it. The devil made me do it. I grew up in the 70s, and these were the things I was exposed to. And they still are with me. And I can't wait to watch Flip Wilson again. But I can put off listening to the Rolling Stones. I'd rather listen to Pink Floyd or Hot Group from the 70s. But anyway, the point of this liturgy this morning is temptation. And one of the early prayers that we learn when we're children is the Lord's Prayer. And at the end of the Lord's Prayer, we find the words, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. We're used to saying that. I don't think we know what we're saying. We say, deliver us from, lead us not into temptation, as if God leads us into temptation. More on that later. And so when Jesus was beginning his ministry in the very first year, he began by having two major life-defining experiences. You ever have a defining experience in life? It's a life that really, it's an event in your life that draws out your character. We know what you're really about. So, in the prayer of the Our Father, Jesus teaches us his prayer, and he says, in the end, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. And I just dropped the Bible on the floor. Can I do that? Thank you. Look how everyone rushes to aid this old man sitting in a wheelchair. Thank you. Actually, Jason and I are the exact same age.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
So, Jesus has two defining moments in his experience. The first one is his baptism. When Jesus was with the prophet John in the Jordan River, John baptized him. And it was an occasion in which Jesus would have a tremendous spiritual experience. He would see a vision of heaven, and the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, would descend from heaven down upon Jesus. And then Jesus would hear a voice. It was the voice of God. You'd think he was crazy at this point. And the voice said, "You are my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." And then Jesus had this experience. It was revealed to him what his identity was. His identity was that he was the Son of God. And so he now needed to discover what that meant and what the mission would be. And what happens? Well, he's led into temptation. Can you believe it? After he taught us that prayer, lead me not into temptation. And so he he's led into temptation by the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit takes him out into the wilderness to meet the devil, because now Jesus was going to experience or deal with the devil, or a battle with the devil. There is a day that comes in which we have to face all of our fears, and all of our hatreds, and all of our prejudices, and all of our unforgiveness. And this is how it comes to us. And Jesus meets the devil. And the devil is portrayed as a person. Did you know evil is not just an abstract concept? Evil is personal. And so there's an angelic being in the desert by the name of Lucifer. And there Jesus goes out to meet him. Lead me not into temptation. And so as Jesus is out there, he's confronted by the devil. And the devil has 3 temptations for him. The first temptation is to turn stones to bread to satisfy his hunger. This is one of the great primal temptations of humankind. We're always concerned and worried about provisions, having enough resources, having enough to eat. And so the first temptation seems rather innocent. You're hungry. Why you have the power. If you are the Son of God, and note the doubt, if you are the Son of God. Doubt always begins with the word if. If you really are the Son of God, then you can take care of your hunger. Turn these stones into bread. They look like loaves of bread after all. And take care of your hunger. And so Jesus was tempted to become an economic Messiah. A Messiah that would see to it that we have all of our resources that we need. Save the economy. Make the stock market go up. Make sure there's always food on the table. This was the first temptation for resources, for wealth. And that temptation is still with us. There are people today who are still tempted and seduced by the false promise of wealth. And it is an illusion, although I could use a little bit more of that illusion in my life. I do complain to God. And then the other temptation was for fame. You want to be famous? Stand on the parapet of the temple and leap off, and the angels will rescue you, and you will be famous, and everyone will know your name. So there's renown and there's infamy. And the third and the final temptation is really strange. The devil takes Jesus to a very high mountain and shows him all the kingdoms and empires of the world, of the earth. And the devil says to him, you can have all of these. It's the temptation for power. Temptation hasn't changed much in the centuries. It's still the same 3 things: wealth, popularity, or fame, or power. This is what drives us. And you know, someone who seeks power is not just a Roman emperor, but it's even people in small, intimate relationships. One seeks to be overpowering of the other. That's tyranny. And so the devil says to Jesus, look, I'll give you all the kingdoms of the world because they all belong to me. The Roman Empire, the Persian Empire, all the kingdoms of the earth, they belong to me. That's what the devil says to Jesus. And then the devil says, now I only have one favor to ask of you. You just have to bow down and worship me, if that's okay with you. And I'll give you all the kingdoms of the world. You can be an emperor like the emperor of Rome. You could have all military power. And so these are the 3 temptations that came to Christ. And you know something? He resisted all 3. And now it's you and me here today. And we are confronted with temptation. Either for wealth, to have more, and to be greedy, or to be popular and famous, or to be powerful. There's a saying that says, power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. Now, something you'll find interesting is that, you know who said that? Lord Acton. You know Lord Acton? He was an old Catholic like us. said that, quote, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, because the Pope had decided that he was infallible. And so Lord Acton objected. He says, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's so true. We seek to not only have our needs met like the stones to bread, we seek not to be only known by a few, but we want to be the center of attention and be famous. We not only want to have a little control over our lives, we want to have control over everybody's life. These are the three great temptations, and Jesus resisted all three of them. And he encourages us to not to give in to these temptations. And he says in the prayer he taught us, Lord, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. And that, my brothers and sisters, is the gospel of the Lord.
Amen.